Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing NFL Week 8 right now with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. And Joe Duffy, of course, cleans up all the games that none of the other handicappers wanted to touch. And he does great with these games. 5-1 against the spread with us last week in the NFL. And, of course, that's completely in line with how he does at his site in general. Joe Duffy, thanks for being back with us.
Yeah, thank you, Peter.
All right, before we're going to analyze Miami Jacksonville, and that was one of the games we covered last week. We both liked Jacksonville as a home dog last week. Here they are a home dog again. We'll see what you think about them this week, and I'm sure you have some interesting numbers to shed light on what we can expect from a team like Jacksonville after they get their first win of the year. But first, give a plug for OffshoreInsiders.com and tell us what we can expect there, what's going on right now.
Yeah, no, one of the reasons I don't mind doing these kind of ugly games is, number one, as I say, the average player doesn't like uncertainty, but either does the bookmakers. So the sharp player loves uncertainty because we can exploit it, because we know how much the odds makers do. And yeah, sometimes the ugliest games are the prettiest bets. That's why I've been a full-time handicapper, 27 years in the business, exploiting that. And I've already got at least 2 wise guy plays up in the NFL. You call, or you're watching this before Saturday, huge Saturday card as well. All at offshoreinsiders.com, 27 years of full-time experience.
All right, Joe. Well, you gave us Jacksonville over Cleveland as one of your 5 winners last week. Here they are again, a big home underdog. 5.5 or 6 is the current line, and that's been bet up from 5. The total is 43, down a bit from 43.5. And the Jags defense is getting better. They won last game pretty handily, and Blake Bortles didn't even have a particularly good game. On the other hand, the Dolphins went into Chicago and beat the Bears. Their offense looks like it might be getting into gear. So my first thought is maybe a shot with a surprisingly low total of 43, and my second thought is 5.5 or 6 points. I know Jacksonville's coming off of their first win of the year, so maybe they have a little bit of a hangover here, but they're playing pretty well. That's a lot of points to be giving them considering what they did last week. So I guess I would lean Jacksonville plus 6 and over 43. What do you think, Joe?
No, I don't think the way this situation works out, I don't think it's really a hangover for Jacksonville. It's usually when the team comes off of like some type of big upset victory, a team they hadn't beaten here. But in the case of Jacksonville, it was a building block. They're getting better and better. I think that's going to be a huge confidence builder to buoy their season. Miami's one of those things where I know that the media seems to be in love with this Tannehill kid, and maybe they'll prove to be the right, because, look, no matter how much of an expert you are, there's always quarterbacks that are going to surprise you and disappoint you. I admit it that I thought that Jake Locker was going to be a superstar, but that hasn't been the case. But still, Ryan Tannehill, he's got to show me he can do this week in, week out. He's shown flashes, but remember, 2 years ago was supposed to be his breakout year, and then when they signed Mike Wallace, all he needed was a deep threat, and that didn't work out all that well. So I have my doubts whether Tannehill can continue to play well. In Jacksonville, as you said, yeah, Blake Bortles, he did not play well last week. It was actually a poor game for him. But look, with a rookie, you're not going to be necessarily consistent. The fact is, teams now have to adjust their defenses for him. He can run the ball. He's an athlete. I think teams really have to game plan for him. He opens things up. He's got 2 young wide receivers, in addition to Cecil Shorts is there. So, he might have one of the more underrated receiving corps with Allen Robinson and Allen Hurts. They got big upsides. So Jacksonville, earlier in the year, their offense was pathetic. Now, look, I'm not going to say that they're even maybe in the top 18 or so, but they're approaching fairly respectable, where maybe they're in the lower 20s. They could be the 21st. I mean, there's just an offense with an upside. And as I said, Ryan Tannehill, I'm just not sold on his ability to do it week in, week out. I think if anything, it'll maybe be Miami with a little bit of a hangover. And this is a tougher spot than people think. Yeah, Jacksonville is a live underdog here.
So you like Jacksonville at plus 6, currently widely available number, and just anyone who's thinking about betting a total is surprisingly low here. And we know that the Dolphins may not be consistent, but they do have a pretty they have a lot of snaps, and they play kind of their offense can be good at times. You think maybe we'll see an improvement from Jacksonville on offense? Think maybe a shot with the over 43 might be valuable as well.
This is good. I think I alluded to this when we talked about it last week. When it comes to handicapping totals, Jacksonville came into this year, a lot of people said the defense was the strongest unit on their team, and their defense was somewhat of a disappointment. But as I said, the problem was Jacksonville's offense was so bad that their defense kept going on the field, and this is something that people don't really understand. The fact that Jacksonville has gone from a horrific offense to a somewhat respectable offense, it actually means their defense isn't going to be on the field quite as much, and they're going to be able to make some plays. So I expect that Jacksonville's defense is going to be improved because of their offense. So no, I expect Jacksonville's defensive numbers to get better. And I know to some they're like, wait a minute, did he actually say the fact that Jacksonville's offense is better means they're going to be more of an under team? Yes, it is. Because as I said, Jacksonville's defense is actually pretty good, but they played terribly this year because they're constantly on the field. So no, I don't agree with that. So yeah, I know on the surface it may sound counterintuitive, but Jacksonville's improved offense will mean lower scoring games because I think it'll give their defense a better chance to make plays, and they're not going to constantly be putting their defense in such precarious positions.
All right, sounds great. Yeah, and to anyone who's watching, just to clarify, who's thinking, wait a minute, did this asshole just say that their improved offense is going to result in lower scoring games? Yeah, he just did.
Yes, and I explained why, and I hopefully made it pretty clear why. Because no, I believe that the best defense is a good offense. In Jacksonville, they're not a high-powered offense, but they're starting to develop a fairly decent ball control offense, which will really help the defense out a lot.
Joe Duffy leaning Jacksonville +6 over Miami. Thanks, Joe.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.